Shalom Aleichem Chevra, welcome. You know the drill. Like, subscribe, share, and subscribe again. Make sure that you've subscribed. Check that button now. Press it now. Okay, so I'm here with something that I've wanted to do for such a long time, and the passion has overwhelmed me today, and I feel as if now's the time to actually try it. And in particular, it is a review of a court case of a get refuser. Now, a get refuser, for those that don't know, a get is a divorce, and a refuser is somebody that doesn't want to give a divorce, right? In Jewish law. And I've got a beauty here for you. I mean, a beauty in the sense that it has been, I don't want to use the word hijacked because that'll rub people up the wrong way. It's been overridden, if you like. It's not even overridden. It's been accompanied by a law, UK law, which basically says that if you are a get refuser, then you are guilty of abuse, and it's a criminal offence, and you can spend time, you can do time in prison for it, and in fact somebody did recently, and it was all news for a while. And it played in the back of my mind because I was very interested in the laws of divorce, the Jewish laws of divorce, what they call the halacha of gittin, at that time, and it just suddenly went quiet, and I wondered what had happened to it. So I went and did some research, refreshed my memory on what it was all about, and I copied all these links, and I saved them in a document for further review when I found out what the outcome of the court case was, and I'll share it with you, because there is nothing on the internet at all about the outcome of the case. We know that the guy ended up being locked up. He went down, right? But we don't know what the outcome was. Did he serve his time? Was he released? I found out, and I'll share it with you at the end of this video. But to warm us up, I'm going to share something with you. It's a famous case in the 18th century, and it's called the Get of Cleves, and this is a Wikipedia summary. I heard somebody articulate this in my shul a long time ago, and he went into much further detail, and it was a fascinating story, a real Meshuggah story, right? But you've got to understand, in halacha is extremely important, because certain rulings and establishments can affect the lives or the outcome of somebody's status in life for generations to come. I won't go into too much detail about it because I'm not an expert, because I don't want to actually end up quoting things which would basically be halakhically incorrect. I'm going to keep it very high level, and I'm going to take you through some of these things that I found out or I've been reading. Just share it with you. Let me say, okay, let's talk about the Get of Cleves. This is from Wikipedia. The Get of Cleves was a contentious international 18th century divorce case that ended when the allegedly insane husband, a Meshuggah husband, remarried his wife. He got divorced and then remarried her, right? In a marriage ceremony that omitted the major portions of a standard Jewish wedding, right? The date on the get, the divorce document, was the 22nd of Elul, 5526, and it was written in a German-Dutch border town, Cleves, 14 days after the date on the 8th of Elul 5526, August the 14th, 1766, marriage document. The truncated ceremony was in 1767, so that was like a year later. The central issue, right, was whether the husband was of sound mind at the time of the divorce, right? Not when he was getting married, but when he was getting divorced, right? Two books published in 1769, or Hayashar, it's the light of something, I don't know what the Yashar means, and 1770, or Yisrael, the light of Israel, gave extensive details of the case. A three-part article about the case was published in 2015 in these links here. You can go and read them. There's some PDF there, 21-page document. It goes into great detail about it. It draws on lots of stories and scenarios and situations which are used as a basis to make halachic law, and that law is used in this case. The case summary is this, right? A newly married man's odd behaviour led to a secretive, on-the-run divorce, right? The document was written in a border town between Dutch and German territories named Cleves, and an asset split favouring the wife, when it was revealed to the husband's family, led to a challenge. Right, he's giving all the money away. Since the husband was alleged to not be mentally competent, this would mean that they were still married, right? Unless the marriage was annulled, right? So they can go back to the beginning of the marriage and annul the marriage. If he was Meshuggah when they was given the divorce, maybe he was Meshuggah when they got married, right? Maybe, I don't know. Various reputable rabbis in different countries disagreed on important legal details. The rabbis couldn't agree. Sometimes they agree, sometimes they disagree. When you ask them a question, the answer is, well, it depends. It always depends on something, right? And importantly, the husband, the reputable different rabbis in different countries disagreed on important legal details. The husband, right, had left Poland and gone to London. He ran off. He'd done a runner. I think, if I remember correctly, when he was in London, he met somebody else. I don't know if he got married. Maybe he did. I think he might have got married and then got divorced again. I can't remember. But, you've got to read that 21-page document to find that detail out. But anyway, I'm digressing. The husband had left Poland and gone to London, while a major court in Germany, right, a halachic court, upon the request of a rabbi in Poland, had issued a controversial ruling nullifying the divorce. Still married. He's still married to a woman. If he's run off and married somebody else, he's still married. He can't do it. It's like a bigamy. Further complications were that the Polish rabbi had written 2 identical letters, right? And the ruling in the second court was that the divorce was valid, right? Since the Polish rabbi died unexpectedly before Oliver Sholem, it's a shame. Since the Polish rabbi died unexpectedly before either, I shouldn't laugh, should I? Since the Polish rabbi died unexpectedly before either ruling came through, rabbis in many countries took sides. Can you imagine a big broigus? It was massive, huge row. The conclusion, right? The conclusion. Sometime after talking with one rabbi in London, so he's in London, he's having a chat with another rabbi, and subsequently with another, the husband returned to Poland. He came back, right? Then travelled with his wife to Frankfurt, Germany, whose court accounted for the minority opinion. That court was the minority opinion that the divorce was invalid. So they're saying, right, they accounted, they believed that the divorce was invalid, the original divorce, so therefore it's technically married. As described in a book written a century later, the husband used a new ring, right, and declared, at odd mekadushas li batabas azo kadas Moshe v'Yisrael. You remain betrothed to me with this ring in accordance with the laws of Moses and Israel. So he kind of remarried her. Insanity pleas in the 20th, 21st centuries regarding marriage and divorce now have a better foundation, and it is still being discussed both in religious courts and academia. But that's a very, very high level about what went on there. It was a real Meshuggah fight, because the outcome at the end of it was like, after all that he caused, he came back and he married his wife again. So there was no so he must have been a real Meshuggah. I mean, not a Meshuggah like mad. He just got like emotional problems, like me. Anyway, the thing is, let me jump on to this one. Now, please forgive me, David, or is it Alan Moher? This headline, Jewish Chronicle. What's the date? I don't know if it's got the date on it there. Let's read this together. This is by Simon Rocker, April the 19th, 2022. It's only 2 years ago. 2 years ago. It's not that long ago, right? So, jailed businessman was not a get refuser, the Beth Din said, right? I think this is the Federation of Rabbis, what we call the Feds, right? These are the Haredim, right? So there you've got United Synagogue, and they have like a Beth Din, and then there's the Feds, and they also have a Beth Din, right? I think the Feds are based up in Manchester, I think, or it could be down in London. I think they've got Beth Dins in both places. Anyway, he goes, the case of Alan Moher, convicted, he was convicted, this guy, locked up in prison, a UK prison, first one, convicted of coercive behaviour, not of being a get refuser, but of coercive behaviour. That was his crime. Earlier this month, reveals differences between secular courts and orthodox authorities over divorce. Now, this topic, I don't want to upset anybody. I'm not taking sides on anything. I'm just reviewing the case. I find it very interesting, you see, but there are some very, very deep passions about it. Understandably so. You know, if somebody refusing somebody a get and never gives her a get, she can't get married again. She can't get married. She can't go and have kids. And if she does go and have kids, if she meets somebody, she says, "Sorry, I'm going to get married," she's still technically under halacha married. If she goes and marries somebody else and has children, the children are what they call mamzers. Do you know what I mean? And they're children. So it's a big problem. So historically, what they've done, you know, you'll see, reveals differences between secular courts and orthodox authorities over divorce. Okay, that's the guy, right? I do apologise. I'd hope it's not guilty of Lashon Hara, but it's in the public domain, so, you know, we shall see. A man jailed for mistreatment of his wife that included withholding a get was unable to give it because his hands were tied by Jewish law, according to his brother. Alan Alti Moher, a Manchester businessman, I think that he basically owned property, buy-to-let property, and he rented them out, and he was quite wealthy. Received an 18-month jail sentence, 18 months in the nick, right? I'll tell you what I think happened at the end, because it all went quiet. Received an 18-month jail sentence after pleading guilty to coercive or controlling behaviour at Southwark Crown Court earlier this month. He wasn't even denying it. He was basically agreeing with them. He's happy in court. He's accused of being a get refuse and coercive behaviour, and he's going, yeah, that's right. That's right. What are you going to do? Lock me up? Yeah, we are. And he was the first one locked up. Right, you probably didn't see that coming, or probably didn't think they would do anything, but they did. And it impacts everybody, right? So we need to be aware of this. Alan Alti Moher, a Manchester businessman, received an 18-month jail sentence after pleading guilty to coercive or controlling behaviour at Southwark Crown Court earlier this month. Prevention of a get was not his only admission. The charge included the use or threat of violence against his former wife Caroline on 2 or more occasions, and exerting unreasonable financial control over her. But his brother Howard says that the Manchester Beth Din did not consider Alan Moher a get refuser in the eyes of Jewish law, right? The rabbis also had problems with a court order for him to make payments to her until the granting of a get, which they believed could conflict with halachic requirements for a get to be given voluntarily and not under pressure. So you've got to do it voluntarily, you see. You can't be forced into it, even though... The case exposes the potential for divergence between the secular judicial system and orthodox rabbinical authorities. Alan and Caroline Moher, who married in 1995, they had 3 children, had children in this as well, separated early in 2016 when she filed for divorce. So he's got the needle, isn't he? Or has he? Maybe he did something, maybe she couldn't stand his coercive behaviour. Maybe she thought she'd be better off for taking the kids and half the house, which was only half of the wealth, which was millions. You know, well, a lot of money. According to the Manchester Beth Din, Mrs. Moher applied to start a get proceedings in 2016, but then she postponed it. When she returned in 2018, she was advised that the get should be dealt with once financial issues were settled.